Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And so for today, as the result of the very famous Oscar ceremony just a week earlier, I'm going to be doing a movie review of Parasite 2019. That's what I'm going to be taking a look at today. For the record, I am going to be talking about spoilers, and so if you haven't watched the movie yet, you should anyway. You should, but if you haven't watched it yet, maybe postpone watching this video. But anyway, let's get on to it. So, number one, I'm going to tell you the synopsis, the summary of what the movie is actually about. To make it very, very short, this movie is about the rich versus the poor. And so we have two families, the Parks and the Kims. And so the whole story begins with the Kims struggling to get on because they are pretty much unemployed, and they are really trying hard to find a job. They live in an old and poor neighborhood and have to try really hard every day to just get on with their lives. And so through a family connection, a family friend, they come to meet the Parks, the very rich, the obscenely rich, very much the opposite of what the family, the Parks. After the meeting, Parks, the Kims come up with a plan, come up with a scheme to try to get jobs working for the Parks, no matter what it takes, because like they already have their own staffs, and now the Kims, they are trying to take the job for themselves because they are unemployed. That's what they're trying to do. And so they're trying to feed themselves and their families and all that. What they didn't know is that once they've gone inside the house, there are more secrets to uncover. So for the plot, I don't actually have much words to say about it, because honestly it is quite simple and easy to follow, but only if you pay attention to the details that are spread throughout the movie. And because those are really important later on, and if you happen to snooze through the film, I think it would be really hard to like, so that's what it's all about, to have these kind of moments. If you're the type like me to pay attention to all details, no matter if they're important or not later in the story, I think you really enjoy this kind of film. Maybe I'm biased, but I absolutely love these kind of movies where they take even the littlest details and make it into biggest factors of the movie. I think that's genius, and I love that trope, that type of movie. So now number three, we're going to talk about the characters of the movie. And so frankly speaking, the greatest thing about this kind of movie, the kind of movie where they intentionally portray and show all the bad things of human, all the bad sides in this world. So greatest thing about it is that because in order for this movie to be entertaining and in capturing, one thing must be done, is that the characters must be endearing and relatable to the audiences. And I think this movie did a really good job with that. You can tell they really did a good job with that in these factors, because right from the beginning of the movie, the Kims are doing everything they can to get the jobs they want, even if it is by illegal methods like forgery.
넌 이 좋은 실력으로 왜 미대는 맨날 떨어지냐?
아이씨 죽을래.
And scamming.
아 잠깐. 제시카 외동딸 일리노이 시카고 과선배는 김치모 그는 이사촌.
And all that, but inside we as the audience feel sympathy instead of anger, because we have just been shown the montage of them trying their hardest to survive.
진짜? 잡혔어?
잡히지? 이거 커피나라 투지. 이 근처에 카페 새로 생긴 건가?
뭐야, 왜 나 안 잡히지?
일로 바싹 올라가 봐.
얘들아, 되는 거야?
돼.
자, 그러면은 자, 카톡 한번 확인해봐. 자, 피자 시대 연락 준다 그랬거든.
잠깐만. 여기 있네. 피자 시대.
And then now they're trying so hard to find a job to actually work the money, and so we don't actually feel much anger, but we feel like the ambition, the want to help them. We want them to thrive because that is the reason why the underdog tribe is so popular. That is because in each of us, as the audience or as a human being in general, we want to help. That is why we are so endeared. We love and relate to the Kims so much. So that is basically the basis of the first emotion we feel for the Kims. That is sympathy and relatable. Yeah, you feel relatable to them. Then it comes to the part where the Kims meet the Park's staffs and they try to replace them. They try to steal their jobs, and then at that point is basically what I think is the emotional turning point of the movie. Because at that point, I feel three separate emotions for them. Understanding, because I know they really need the job, and so I understand what they're doing. Anger, because they are making innocent people lose their job as well. And wait, and three, disgust, because I see the way they pretend and see the way they scam, and they're so good at it that you can't help but feel disgusted, because how can you lie with such a straight face? At this point, the protagonists become those we don't know whether to support or not, and that is good, because that is then comes when we meet the Parks, the rich one. From the moment we meet them, the director really tries so hard to make it seem like they're just a normal family, like every other Korean family. So it's really hard to dislike them. Now, when we come in the crossfire between the Kims and the Park, we don't know who to support. Because as from the beginning, we understand full well that the Kims need money, and so they try everything. They try to do everything to get the jobs they want. But the Parks, they don't deserve to be scammed like that, and so that again they elicit the sympathy, our sympathy for them. And so at this point, we don't know who to side with, because at the same time, because we understand what each family is going through, that at that point we have sunk in too deep into the movie, and at this point we're just gonna roll with it and see what happens next. The performances of the actors, of the actresses, I think they did a really amazing job, because they succeeded in bringing out the emotion for the audiences to see and to feel. Because you see it on screen, of course you down here you would see it, you would feel it as well. That's the basis for every single movie. That's what every single movie should do. So, number 4, we're going to talk about the visuals. And so, like the movie Joker, the director of this movie, he also used the contrasting image of the color blue and yellow. The reason why I said that is because right from the beginning, we can tell that this movie is going to compare between the rich and the poor. The differences are shown so clearly. The purpose of the entire film is to manipulate the emotions of the audiences through the characters' action, and as visual aids, the colors did themselves justice. So as you can tell, like the whole somber blue, like everyone always say that blue is kind of like the color for depression, for sadness. But yeah, that is true. It is very true. And so we got somber blue coloring of when the Kims are on screen, but when it comes to the Parks, they are happy, they are content. They're basically just sunshine yellow. That's the two pole opposite that I think the movie really tries to show us. And this happens throughout the entire movie as well. They're trying to compare, to contrast between the rich and the poor to make the gap bigger and bigger every time. So number 5, we're gonna talk about the pacing. Honestly, I will go ahead and say that this movie's pacing is not what I had expected. Though to be honest, I have actually expected a little bit too much, considering this movie is only focusing on the rich and the poor and not some horror movie thriller or something. Like most of the time I don't feel very excited, and so I just keep doing like this and then just watch very peacefully, very relaxingly. And the pacing is very decent though. I'll give credits when it's due. It has enough to push for that secret, you know, the first secret that really was the turnover point for the movie, where we discovered there was actually a man living in the secret basement tunnel for the past 4 years. And then that was the catalyst of the movie, and so they created enough tension to push that forward, and then the tension just slowly rises up and then comes to the last few scenes, the flooding.
기자가 조심해. 아무거나 만지지 마.
And then the whole shindig at the Park family home.
죽지 않지! 죽지가 안 나와! 거기 말고! 기다릴 들러!
I'll admit that part was very hyped, exciting to watch. But for this movie though, I feel like I myself could have things I want to change, especially about the pacing. Maybe just to make it a little bit more tense, and maybe that way they can capture the audience's attention more. So here comes the last part, interpretation. I don't actually know what to take away from this movie, honestly. We're not strangers. We're no strangers to the happenings in this movie, because just like Joker, this movie again reminds us of how horrible this world can be. Albeit, this really makes a very realistic portrayal of what it's like to live on the other side. They really show that difference on screen and make the audience feel what the characters have gone through. That is, in my opinion, is the most important part of a movie like this. A movie that is more psychological than thriller, you know. And so, in conclusion, I am going to give this movie a 4. Because I have things I want to change about it, but objectively, it is a very good movie. And just because it's not my type doesn't mean it's not Oscar material. Definitely, you guys should really watch it if you haven't. And so that's basically it for my review today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and leave a comment down if you want to give me feedbacks or want me to do another movie review like this, or not. Maybe next week I'll do something else. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Again, be careful of the coronavirus or any other virus in general. Know how to take care of yourself. And so I'll see you guys next week. Bye.